Hello everybody and welcome to week 22's weekly recap here. I actually looked up the date this time, which week it is. So this was, what was it, July 11th to today, which is the 17th. And just really quickly I'll go over my poses. Although once again I don't really have a lot to say. I'm noticing, continuing the trend of I don't know how to draw like the torso and like the pelvis, kind of this general body mass. Like it seems most of the time it's okay, but a lot of the time it's too compact, like this. Or other times it's too thin. Like, well, I'm sure I'll find a good example here or there, right? But this is the 11th here. So I'll just go forward through the week here. This is the next day. I find most of the time they're too thin and generally too compact. So what I want to do this upcoming week is I did a 100 head challenge earlier because I was really struggling with the head, basically like placing the facial features. And that funnily enough, it helped me more with the shoulders and the neck than it did with the head. But I think what I want to do is like today and like maybe tonight, I'll watch some tutorials and like kind of think about how I want to do this kind of central body mass area. And then I'm going to do another 100 challenge. I'm going to do like 100 basically torso and like the shoulders and like the beginnings of the neck and stuff, and kind of like the pelvis, just kind of this general body mass area, right? I'll try and do 100 of those as well. It'll be pretty intense, but I think it'll be fun. Yeah, all in all, still everything is looking nicely balanced. Like I'm consistently surprised by how well I'm getting the balance and like proportion stuff, but it's really it's hard to explain because as I'm doing the poses, I find like I'm thinking like, you know, I can't get the angle on this right, but it always seems to come out good. You know, I can't find an example of things being too thin. So this is kind of what I'm saying, like as I'm doing it I feel like, oh, this is too thin, but as I'm looking back at these, they all look kind of good, right? They all look fine. It's hard to say. You know, but either way I want to practice it because like the torso mainly, because I'm trying to think of like the opening, you know, if you're like seeing through as like the rib cage, kind of like this, and then it kind of comes up. It's really hard for me to kind of rotate that in my brain. I want to get better at that. So yeah. As always, I don't really know what to say when I look back at these, but just kind of my thought process throughout the week. I feel like I'm too compact, like I'm kind of forgetting the belly area. I don't really know how to connect the kind of the rib cage and the belly area. I usually will just do like lines, like two connecting lines, which I think is okay for the most part, but I feel like there should be something more to it, right? Like this is a little compact, I think. Could be like a little more extended, like maybe like slightly longer. I really don't know. But I'm going to experiment this week. See if I can figure out what it is that's bothering me. Like some of these are really good, right? Like I'm pretty happy with these. Yeah, I can't even find an example of things being too thin. Maybe I'm just insane. Maybe I'm losing my mind doing this 160 days in a row, right? So who knows? But yeah, I'm always very happy with the results when I look back at the end of the day. Like that's still true, which is really kind of cool. I never have like, I might have a bad day drawing, but then at the end of the week, when I come back and look at these, I'm always like, yeah, it's fine. Totally good. Which is weird, you know? It's just weird. I think maybe I'm too hard on myself in general. I need to just kind of let things be a little bit more. And then here's today's. So a lot of the time I'll get like stuck on one thing, you know? And then when I look back at what I did, I'm like, yeah, this was great. Like, why did I get stuck on this one thing for so long, you know? I just need to let it be, you know? Anyway, that's enough for my poses here. Let's look at the recap. So this week, since I focused on the head, I did a 100 head challenge, you know, last week or whatever it was, the week before, I can't even remember. I tried to do not full body things. So I cut it off so that I'd have more time to focus on kind of the upper body, basically. So I wound up drawing a lot of hands this week, which turned out okay, I think. But it made me realize that I don't really know how to think about like the knuckles and like where the fingers connect. So I think sooner or later I'm going to try and do a deep dive on like hands, practicing the hands as well. That'll probably come up in a few weeks or something. So yeah, this was this one. I'm also messing around with this like weird, you know, tone gradient background with the dots and stuff. It's pretty fun. And again, practicing like the hair and the face mostly this week. So here's the next days. Placing facial features is still really hard for me. And like the shape of the head, the shape of the head is like, it's almost, the facial features are fine. It's just the shape of the head I can't seem to get right. I really struggle with that. So again, I cut it off so I wasn't doing like the full body, although I pretty much did the full body. It's basically just knees down I didn't do. But again, I drew a hand here and same struggles, you know, like how do you think about the knuckles? You know, I was thinking that like, so. And again, similar background thing. I don't know, I just had a lot of fun with the, this week. Simple stuff, you know. I'm also leaving the shadows done like in a very basic way on these. And then what I'll do is eventually I'd like to come back and specifically practice shadows. So I've got a number of like semi-finished drawings that I can, I mean the shadows here are basically done, but I'd like to kind of revisit some of these drawings that I've already done and practice shadows with them. So here was another one. Again, like practicing the kind of the head and the hair and the face mainly. And then again, these hands, they keep coming up and like, you know, I wasn't focusing on them, but I realized this week, I'm like, I kind of suck at hands, you know, like fingers look fine. This kind of looks okay, but then it's like in this middle area where the fingers kind of connect to the rest of the hand. I realized I'm really struggling with that. So I think this one I used the auto shader. Clip Studio has a cool new feature where it like, it can kind of like guess where the shadows would be. I don't know how it works, but I use that for like reference on where to place my shadows. It's kind of cool. And again, this will be one where I revisit and like practice the shadows on at some point, I think. So that was that day. And then this one, again, messing with the kind of the faded background where it, I don't know, there's some cool effects you can do with it. I think it's pretty fun. So I think, yeah, I think this hand was not too bad. And also this was good practice for clothing and like folds. I think I did these pretty well. I used a bit of reference for pretty much everything I do. I use a bit of reference for like the clothing, but I'm learning how to think about how folds work, you know, like where it's really bunched up and things like that. I'm slowly getting it, you know. So this one was pretty fun. This ribbon was fun too. I remember having fun with that. And again, I'll revisit this and do proper shadows sometimes. I mean, these shadows are basically done, but this is like a rough sketch or whatever. So, and then I did this one yesterday. I did this over, what was it, 6 hours. 6 hours. So I wanted to do it a little more, take it a little further, but this is good enough. This was my take on this week's prompt. What I really had fun with was doing the kind of weird wiggly water lines by the feet and these flippers. It was a lot of fun. It took me a long time to kind of wrap my head around this, and my head started to hurt. I was thinking like, how do I do this? How do I do this? But the idea is like kind of the ripples of the water are kind of like smearing and kind of pulling points on the foot in like different directions. Once I kind of wrapped my head around that, it was not too difficult, and I think I did a pretty good job. It looks pretty cool, I think. The other thing I kind of forgot, these are like, normally scuba diving goggles are clear, right? You can tell I haven't scuba dived, but I've like snowboarded, right? Snowboarding, my snowboard goggles are orange tinted, so that's why these are orange tinted. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this one. Like I said, I could have taken it a little further, but I was just too tired. I did this all in one sitting of 6 hours, so yeah, it was pretty fun. I'd like to come back and finish it at some point, you know. Do I have anything else to say? I guess not. The water was pretty fun too. I just kind of quickly threw it in at the last minute, but it looks pretty nice, I think. I tried to do like a really perspective heavy, like high angle, like box, bounding box to start. I watched some tutorials and like use them reference and kind of helping me with that. So it was really a fun one. I had a lot of fun with this. So yeah, that's that, I guess. I don't really have anything else to say. So that's my my week in review. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back next week with another one, I guess. Hey, yeah. Cut.